Welcome to another Colors of Prog. This is Season 3, Episode 15, and this is one of our rare concert review episodes. There's one back about last year, maybe two. This is John Anderson and the Band Geeks, April 21st, 2023 at the Palladium on Broadway in Times Square in New York City. So, short term, John Anderson, if anyone needs to be reminded, is aside from still living Tony Kaye and Bill Bruford, one of the co-founders of Yes, along with the departed Peter Banks and Chris Squire. Health issues plagued Anderson during the band's 35th anniversary tours in 2004. During the last weeks, he struggled with breathing issues and was diagnosed after the tour's end with asthma, bronchitis, and exhaustion. The band took a 4-year hiatus, but when rehearsals began, I'm talking about Yes, in the spring of 2008 for the band's 40th anniversary, an asthma attack led to respiratory failure for Anderson, so he had to bow out. Yes replaced him first with Benoit David from Canadian band Mystery, and then John Davidson from Glass Hammer. This is the shortened version, folks. Anderson would improve health-wise and would make occasional solo albums, most notably with Vangelis and Rick Wakeman. The Living Tree in 2011 is one. He collaborated with violinist Jean-Luc Ponty of Mahavishnu Orchestra and Frank Zappa fame for a tour and studio project. Although a live album, Better Late Than Never, resulted and there was no studio album. In 2016, John Anderson collaborated with Flower King songwriter and guitarist Ryan Stolt, also of Transatlantic, for The Invention of Knowledge. In 2016, Anderson rejoined Yes members Rick Wakeman and Trevor Rabin, and they toured for 2 years as ARW, and then as Yes featuring John Anderson, Trevor Rabin, and Rick Wakeman, which caused a lot of confusion at the circuit because Yes, the other Yes, were then touring. ARW disbanded in 2020 during recording for the studio album. There were 2 leaked tracks which were interesting, and for whatever reason, Anderson and Wakeman have publicly gone out and said that songs weren't, the studio stuff they were working on wasn't quite what they wanted to do, quite wasn't what they were intending to do, and they hoped they could do, so they disbanded. More recently, John Anderson was supported by the Paul Green Rock Academy. Green was one of the founders of the original School of Rock. That's up to now the current tour. In 2022, John Anderson met with Richie Castellano, who's been a member of Blue Colt for a couple of years now, and the Band Geeks. Now, Castellano has this, aside from Blue Colt and lots of other projects, Blue Oyster Cult, he has lots of other projects, and one of those is the Band Geeks. It's this multi-instrumentalist, as far as I could tell. A lot of guys played a lot of different stuff. And they have a YouTube channel, so does Castellano. And they do spirited renditions of other people's music, including Yes. Now, I believe the story goes that Anderson was either notified by someone or was searching through YouTube, came across some of the Band Geeks material, and met with Richie Castellano. They had some Zoom discussions, and that's where they would rehearse over Zoom. And story goes, according to Anderson, that they did not actually meet live and in flesh until days before the first show. How rock and roll is that? The Band Geeks consist of, beside Castellano on bass vocals and percussion, Andy Graziano on guitars and vocals, Rob Kipp on keyboards, vocals, and guitar, Andy Ascalese on percussion, and former Brand X member Chris Clark on keyboards. There's a 12-date tour beginning in Westbury, New York, which began Westbury, New York on April 14th. And this was the third show, being in Times Square, Broadway on the 21st of April. Set list at that show, which I attended, contained Yours Is No Disgrace and Perpetual Change from the third Yes album, titled The Yes Album, Close to the Edge in its entirety, Heart of the Sunrise from Fragile, Starship Trooper, and Awaken from Going for the One. After a brief time out, set two included And You and I've Seen All Good People, Ritual from Tales from Topographic Oceans, which is pretty tremendous, and Roundabout. New York City theater time constraints meant two songs had to be cut from the set list. Owner of a Lonely Heart and Rhythm of Love from the Rabin Yes years, and more recently the ARW years, were cut. Actually, John offered to the crowd, he says, we can only do one more song. Do you want Roundabout or Owner of a Lonely Heart? Personally, Roundabout's the most played out song ever, next to Brown Sugar. Even the Stones don't do it for whatever reason. There's been talk. But I like Roundabout. Who doesn't like Roundabout? And to hear John Anderson sing Roundabout is amazing. But, all right. He said, everybody wants Roundabout. And from where I was sitting, it was like mixed. So, yeah, again, the New York City theater time constraints, I believe, meant two songs had to be cut from the set list, and I mentioned those two. All right, so it's always a personal joy to hear John Anderson perform these songs live, and with a crack band, that's a compliment, as support. He appeared, much as he did in online videos and chats preceding the tour, energetic in voice, but visibly he's showing his 78 years of age. With not much physical rehearsals, set one had some false starts to songs. John even ad-libbed occasionally, or misremembering a lyric, but was engaged with the audience and empowered by the enthusiastic audience. By the time of Starship Trooper and Awaken, his vocals were stronger, and set two was pure gold. Nowadays, we must accept the inevitability of aging and our musical heroes aging or passing, retiring. Having at least one more opportunity to see the original singer, songwriter from Yes, with a pretty terrific band who well knows this music. They, the band Geeks, and Richie Castellano have YouTube sites if you want to check them out. It was totally worth it. And John Anderson is a legend. He's an amazing performer, an amazing singer. And you have to go with a grain of salt and accept a couple of things. But overall, it was a terrific show. If I put this up, you may not see this until after the tour is over. It all depends on when I put this up for viewing. If there are any shows remaining, I say don't hasten. I say don't procrastinate, hasten to go. You're not going to get this opportunity again, probably with this band. I hope they record some of these. I don't know what the intricacies are. Allegedly, I'm not saying allegedly, yes, John's announced playing some shows in Europe with the School of Rock guys again. And I'm not saying anything ill commented toward them. They're all talented young people, but the band Geeks are amazing. And maybe John announced that European tour without actually playing with these guys, the band Geeks. And it was like, these guys are terrific. And Richie Castellano totally blew me away on his bass playing. I heard guys saying, he's better than Billy Sherwood. Actually, after the show, me and my friend were discussing, Squire was the bass player. And yes, Squire's an amazing bass player. Squire passed away, and Billy Sherwood's good. This guy, Richie Castellano, is amazing. And they when they do the YouTube stuff, they also have some guest musicians as well. So run, don't walk. If you get the opportunity to see John Anderson perform live, do it now. Anyway, I really enjoyed it. It was an uplifting moment, and it was a highlight of my week. Month. Months. Anyway, that was my review. Very short, very brief. John Anderson and the band Geeks. Yes, Epics Tour and Classics. Thank you. Thank you for watching.